Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Well, welcome to the Worry-Free Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker, and today we will continue our show from last week's episode of the Worry-Free Retirement, simply called the Whiteboard Show, where I will continue to share some of the more recent retirement issues and cases that I've been working on to help savers better understand exactly what a retirement planning specialist does versus, say, a stockbroker, wealth manager, or money manager. You see, this whole retirement planning thing is a fairly new phenomenon. In fact, prior to yours truly making the decision in 2002 to begin creating what is known and trademarked as the Worry-Free Retirement Planning process, there really was no such thing as retirement planning. That is, for some 20 years ago, when most advisors and big financial institutions were doing what they've always done, simply focusing on the sale of products to invest their clients' money for retirement. However, while the where to invest your money is an important aspect of retirement planning, it pales in comparison as to the how you're going to begin spending your savings on a safe basis and without the fear of running out of money. Add to the fact that through our extensive research, we discovered what I always assumed to be true, that most people are not investors looking to take on more risk, but rather are what we call the saver personality, someone who is more concerned about the return of their money as opposed to the return on it. Which is why our process focuses on taking less risk, not more. Today, after more than 20 years of experience in the retirement planning field and in watching retirement years play out for thousands of savers in retirement, I am more confident than ever before that all the work that has gone into taking care of these savers has not been in vain. Last week, during the time allotted, we shared two real-life planning cases. The first, a retiree with a modest amount of money in her 401k and Social Security, thinking that she would never be able to retire, and how easy it was for her to comfortably retire after we worked with her on our process. The second case, a prospective client who inherited a large sum of money that they really did not need, did not want it exposed to nursing home costs, and considered giving the inheritance to the children until, to the shock and dismay of their broker and their accountant said they couldn't do it because of the tax laws, which we proved them to be incorrect. Again, which is why you want to be working with a firm like Tony Walker Financial, who specializes in retirement planning. So today, I've got three more case studies, time willing, for you to learn about. The first, a 75-year-old couple who is getting tired of all the taxes they have to owe on something called their required minimum distributions and how we're going to help them reduce those taxes. The second case will be a 59-year-old couple who would like to see if they can retire next year, and if so, how are they going to handle the cost of health insurance? Got some good Zoom calls coming up for that. And finally, the third case will be very interesting. It's a 63-year-old female who recently lost her spouse and all of the ramifications that go into planning once a spouse passes away. So stay tuned as we get into episode number 2 of Tony on the Whiteboard. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Let's get right into it. Tony in Trenches. This is from George in Georgetown, Kentucky. I kid you not. How many clients, Tony, does Tony Walker Financial serve? And of those, how many are retirement age? Well, quite frankly, I didn't know the answer to this, George, so I had our own Connie Fortney, who's been with me nearly 20 years, go back into our database and ask that very question. And here's what she came up with. Basically, as you can see here, the majority of our clients fall into this age range, 56 to 80. Now, folks, the reason I'm sharing this with you, number one, this was interesting. I didn't know how many clients we had in this age range. But when I'm on the show talking about the experience of Tony Walker Financial and all of these cases and the thousands of people I've met with over the years, there is no substitute for experience, folks. And with everybody and his brother now trying to get in the retirement planning field, this is something you need to be aware of. So let's take a look at this. In that age range, between 56 and 80, this isn't all of our clients, but in that age range, we have nearly 3,000 clients. So when I get into these case studies, you know that we have multiple case studies we could share. Gosh, I could go on for probably months on this show, just case after case that could be helpful to our clients and viewers out there. But just understand, this is all we do. We're retirement planning specialists first, then investment advisors, providing annuities, all the other things second, but we're planners first, and the numbers bear that out. All right, let's get over to our next case. Kind of look at here as we continue. Got my cheat notes here. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of slide over here. Aaron's going to follow me. I'm going to read this. Okay, this is a 75-year-old couple. So both are age 75. Wife is in very good health. Actually, the husband recently diagnosed with cancer. Their main goal is to make sure that her income does not decrease too much at his death and be sure that she does not run out of money. So they basically have $500,000 in a 401k plan. She has a $300,000 IRA in her name, and it looks like they've got about $100,000 in a brokerage account. That would be an after-tax account. Social Security, $2,800 a month for her husband, $1,700 a month for a wife. Pension, he has a pension of $3,000 a month. And let's see, that comes with a 50% survivor. I think you may be seeing, if you watch this show enough, where I'm going with this. So already remember, this is all about cash flow. That's all retirement planning is. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do to supplement cash flow. He's had terminal cancer. We're going to show she's going to lose some income. Also, right now, they have $100,000 in savings. See, $100,000 in savings. Yeah. And his RMD, that's the required minimum distribution, which now is age 73, is running about $40,000 a year. Now, currently, they do not need extra money. They have the Social Security for he and her both, a $3,000 pension, $100,000 in savings. She's got a $300,000 IRA, $100,000 brokerage. They've had RMDs of about $40,000. But what's happening is that RMD, this is why we say these 401ks and IRAs, they're wonderful savings tools. They are terrible planning tools because now that's hitting their tax return. It's affecting their taxes. It's affecting Social Security taxation. And in their case, right now, they really don't need the money. So what they decided to do, and this is something we can help with. In fact, we have two folks certified in tax planning on staff. That would be Miss Leanne Tinsley, who you're getting ready to hear from, as well as Mr. Timmy Reagan. I got to go get Juanita. Derek, I'll be right back. Timmy, thanks again for your help, man. Is your name Timmy?
No, my name's not Timmy. I don't like being called Timmy. I've never been called Timmy.
So they can help with this, but this is called a QCD. So what we recommended they do in this example is take that RMD distribution, again, we can help with this, and instead of taking it out, paying income taxes on it, then gifting it, trying to deduct the $40,000, the QCD by law allows us to send that directly to the church or charity of their choice, which keeps the $40,000 off the tax return and doesn't have a negative impact on this. So we see this a lot nowadays. And actually, Aaron, throw this up. This is called our 3 halves of life graphic. And this is very common. You see somebody in the second half of life. Again, this couple is 75 years of age. They've done a great job of saving money. They're getting to that point in life where they're not doing a lot of traveling, not doing a lot of spending. They got more money coming in than they know what to do with. They want to benefit charity, but they're trying to keep their taxes down. And plus, this young lady knows that if he dies soon, which it doesn't sound like he has a long time to live, the game plan is going to step right in. Although she's going to lose her Social Security at his passing, the pension's going to drop to $1,500 by 50%. We know that with the 401k, the IRA, the savings, the game plan will continue on. She'll have plenty of money. And also we've put into this plan that beloved
mailbox money.
So folks, if that's you right now, maybe you're similar to this couple. You're at minimum distribution age or maybe into your late 70s, early 80s. You've got all this money coming in. You're not sure what to do with it. You're either wanting to do some gifting strategies, some tax planning strategies. Let us try to help you. We are experts in this world of retirement planning, and it's easy to get started. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started. Let's see if we can help you be more worry-free, or if you like, just simply call the number on your screen. All right, let's come back. We're going to have to do the magical whiteboard thing and turn this thing around. We're going to try to get to cases 4 and 5 if we have time. We'll definitely want to get to case number 4. Interesting case. It's a couple, 59, wanting to retire early, but they've got a problem, and that's dealing with the potentially high cost of health insurance between 59 and 65. Stay tuned. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back.
Now remember, when you roll over your money to us from your 401k, you get a free 15% bonus.
Free money? That sounds too good to be true.
No, there's no catch.
So, what are your fees?
No, not fee, free.
What do you think?
I think we need a second opinion.
Don't leave your retirement to chance. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Speaking of getting from here to there, I got to tell you a funny story about relying on technology and various navigational devices to get you from here to there. This has been a couple of weeks ago, but my brother Marty invited me to play golf at a place called the Peninsula, which is in Lancaster, Kentucky. Beautiful golf course, by the way. But seeing as though I'd never been there, I traveled from Louisville after finishing appointments all the way to Lancaster using my GPS navigational system. Got there fine, and the night before I'd actually decided to go to Somerset, then take the Parkway to Bowling Green. Well, after we played golf, I jumped back on Highway 27, and immediately my navigational system in my car told me to take a right onto a rural road. Now, this 2-lane road just didn't feel right. It felt like I was going in the wrong direction. Looked at the navigation system. It seemed fine. After about 30 minutes of driving by all these windy roads, I have something called Destination Assist, where you can call a live operator who will check your coordinates and make sure you're on the right track. So I did that, and the nice young lady said, yes, I'll send you the coordinates. It sent me on the same track. And I'm going north, and long story short, I went way out of the way, finally ended up back on Bluegrass Parkway, and then had to traverse all the way back to Bowling Green. So it just goes to show you, even with the navigational assist and a live operator, you can't always depend on them to be your guide. All right, let's get back. What is it, Derek? I'm trying to do a show here.
Yeah, my grandma had one of those live operators, but I don't think she understood that it was a real person.
Hello, Mrs. Hudson. How may I help you today?
Home.
Yeah, sure thing. I can route your GPS to your home address. Are you having a good Sunday?
Derek sure turned out to be a disappointment.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Darlene, I think the computer's still talking to you.
Oh, How do I shut this thing up?
Actually, that was worth interrupting me for. That was a good one. All right, folks, in the time remaining, we're going to have to put off case number 5 till next week, and it's going to be a dandy. But right now, in the time remaining, let's cover case number 4, which is very interesting. I'm going to walk over to the whiteboard, got my cheat notes here. This is a couple, and I'm seeing this more and more, okay? A couple age 59. Now here, as we record this show in late June of 2023, I've seen an enormous change in the workplace and the attitudes of many workers who have gone back to work since the pandemic. Whether it's fewer employees to help them, overburdened with work, things have changed. So we're seeing more and more people in this age range who are coming to us, Tony Walker Financial, because they know our expertise in the retirement planning field and saying, Tony, can we retire right now? Now, in this case, these folks had a lot of money, all right? They'd done a good job saving. They had about a total of $800,000 in 401k plans, had a pension. Obviously, they couldn't even begin to take Social Security until 62. We're not even going to worry about that right now. The big concern I had was, okay, if you retire now, at 59 and a half, it's not a problem, or if it's below 59 and a half, we can still take the money out without penalty from the 401k. We do all that. We figure all these calculations. The biggest question on their mind, and on the minds of most people, all right, who are retiring before age 65. Remember, 65 is another key age out there because that's when people are eligible for what's called a Medicare supplement. But nowadays, with most people, when they retire early, they might have some opportunity to get health insurance from the employer, but even if they do, in many cases, it's very, very expensive. The other option would be to go out here and just buy an individual policy. Again, that can be as high as $2,000 a month. That's what me and my wife Susan pay for our individual coverage. So this is a huge consideration of retirement and the cost of health insurance. So in this case, I ran the game plan. We set everything up. I showed them where they could retire based on their cash flow. We worked out, mapped everything out. I'm going to navigate them. That's all well and good, but we did come to this health insurance. And basically I said, you've got one of two options. You can fork over about $2,000 a month between now and 65. That didn't go over well. Or you can apply for something called a subsidy. Now, to help us better understand what a subsidy is, how the government has come in and tried to help people in these conditions, in this situation, I'm going to turn it over now to my favorite son-in-law and fellow fiduciary, Trey Juergens, to help people understand how you can go to these various websites to see how you can get health insurance through the different exchanges that are now available through the government.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. The websites are going to be a little different for our viewers. So if you are a viewer living in Kentucky, the website to apply for healthcare coverage through the marketplace is going to be connect.gov, KYNECT.gov. It's going to give you a website. You can fill out an application. It'll give you the different plans that you can apply for. For Indiana viewers, it's actually healthcare.gov. Same thing. It'll give you applications and then the different plans you can apply for.
Okay, thank you, Trey. But we're not done yet because Trey didn't answer a very important question. He's sharing with you how to go about finding out about all of the different assets that need to be considered, the income and all that. But how does this actually work from the standpoint of the subsidies? How do you know if you qualify for the subsidies and how does various income affect this? Because in this case, this is what's called qualified money, okay? This was all pre-tax. And that's a problem because these folks need income to live on between now and 65, right? I mean, where are they going to get money? This is another reason. Let me share this with you. This is another reason. If you're on the younger side, you need to be investing a lot of money in after-tax products, whether it's Roth IRAs, cash value of life insurance, bank products. Those are fine. Brokerage accounts. Because when you get to this point, if you decide to retire early, as we're going to find out in just a second, you're going to want to have after-tax money available because it's not included as income. If we take all this money out and start applying it to income, it's going to affect the subsidies. So to better help us understand how these income calculations work and how much subsidies you qualify for, what I thought I would do is go to our own Leanne Tinsley, tax certified specialist in our Bowling Green office, to help us better understand this scenario with this couple.
Well, the government is going to start with a sliding scale based on the federal poverty limit. And for example, if we were going to look at an income of about $45,000, that would put you at the 250% federal poverty limit. That's going to mean that you will pay no more than 4% of your annual income toward health insurance premiums. And that will change as your income increases or decreases. It's very important that you make any adjustments, that you report those to the exchange in income and or anyone living in your household. And so that is something that your retirement specialist should be able to help you track on a yearly basis.
Okay, so unfortunately, we don't have time for case number 5. It's going to be a dandy too. In fact, it's going to be so involved. It involves a young lady who's 63, loses her spouse unexpectedly, and what's going to happen to her income, health insurance, all the things she needs to think about. And I might even devote most of the entire show next week. So that's you if you're divorced, single, lost a spouse, concerned over the future of what you might do if you lose a spouse. The next show is going to be really good as I examine in detail this case study. But in the meantime, I've got to get to the Bible. So we're going to go into the Bible and understand this idea of how do we bridge the gap, this huge chasm that exists between man and us dealing with the world and the light of God and the desire to get to Him as quickly as possible. I'm Tony Walker. Let me get a cup of coffee. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Did you know that you can watch the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money anytime you want? The show's called The Worry-Free Retirement. It's hosted by Tony Walker, and it's available on YouTube. All you got to do is go to youtube.com and right there in the search bar, type in Tony Walker Financial, and you'll see Tony's smiling face. Click on that and you're going to find all types of video content. Again, that's youtube.com, Tony Walker Financial.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. The past 2 weeks, our case studies have focused on helping savers bridge this huge gap that exists between the mountain of work and what we call the mountain of retirement. Hopefully, the case studies I've shared on this whiteboard today have given you pause to just how daunting this task, this journey can be, especially if you're trying to get there from here to there on your own, or worse yet, allowing a financial advisor who is ill-equipped in the art of retirement planning to serve as your guide. Last week's Bible segment dealt with a similar daunting task, one of how to get from the mountain we currently exist on, doing life, that is called the mountain of the world, to the mountain of hope we call God. Yet this journey can be quite frustrating as we are reminded of just how wide this chasm is between here and there, and that on our own, there is no way for us to cross this chasm. Realizing that man is unable to make the journey alone, God in His grace and mercy provided some 2,000 years ago a way over by building a bridge from here to there, one that is free of charge and only requires faith on our part to walk across it. And as the Apostle Paul reminds us, unlike the journey of trying to figure out who to trust with our money and how to keep the rest of the world from taking it from us, this journey from here to there requires no effort other than the decision to turn and start walking. Oh, speaking of grabbing your walking stick and walking by faith, my first attempt to explain this process of perfecting your walk in retirement was initiated by this book penned in 2003 called Perfecting Your Walk in Retirement, a book whose purpose was to provide a balance in our lives by understanding this concept of man, money, and God. The book even included an accompanying study guide for Christians to use for further assistance in their journey. Realizing my book's title made no sense to savers looking to retire, I then changed the title of the book to The Worry-Free Retirement and then created the process I use in my practice today that has been able to help thousands of savers worry less about money, which is, of course, called The Worry-Free Retirement. I guess as the old saying goes, God truly works in mysterious ways. So how then does such a bridge forged by a cross and built by God's Son help us worry less about the temporary things of the world? And more importantly, why did God have to go to all this trouble to provide us a way from here to there? The answer is sin. You see, the reason this huge chasm separating man from God exists in the first place is because mankind is sinful, which simply means we are separated from God. This sinful state we desperately exist in is described by the Apostle Paul as a condition that haunts him to continue to do the things that he would rather not do, say, nor think. Of this condition of dealing with sin and the dastardly results it produces, the late great Charles Spurgeon has this to say. He said, "Christians can never sin cheaply. They pay a heavy price for iniquity. Transgression, which simply means acting upon these sinful thoughts, destroys peace of mind, obscures fellowship with Jesus, hinders prayer, and darkens our souls." And since nobody's perfect, and we, like Paul, will continue to struggle with sin, this is why God, and only God, could bridge that gap from here to there, and he did it with a cross. A cross that now gives mankind access to walk towards the light of God and away from a life of fumbling and bumbling around on a world full of darkness. A world that is unwilling and unable to accept this finished work of Christ and the power of God's cross. So the good news, we by faith and turning and walking across this bridge now have access to God. We do not have to let the world dupe us through its temporary offerings. But now, having heard the good news and seen the light, you and I can begin our journey to perfection. And that, my friend, is a journey that brings some good news that you and I can take to the bank. Amen? Well, speaking of a different direction, I've got a question for you as it relates to your life savings and who you are currently trusting with it. Is there another way, another bridge, maybe you might say, that you might consider walking across to a different mountain in retirement? A bridge that includes a written game plan. A bridge that includes a local retirement firm with experienced retirement planning specialists that are able to help you navigate the changes in retirement that will surely come your way. Well, today I've got some really good news on how to take advantage of speaking to me. That's right, the owner of the company, someone who has met in person with more than 15,000 savers, Tony Walker. And here's how easy it is to get started. We call this the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And all you have to do to begin your journey to a worry-free retirement is pick up the phone and give us a call right now, or you can go to our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that little red tab, and we will arrange that phone call for you and I to speak for a few minutes to see if we can help. And then if we can, guess what? We're going to meet in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call at the toll-free number on your screen. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Worry-Free Retirement. But as always, remember, between now and then, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.